At Workday Physique, we help busy professionals who struggle with consistency in their exercise and diet. If you're a busy professional and you're tired of losing and regaining the same weight over and over again, and you'd like a permanent solution to your weight loss problems, visit workdayphysique.com/coaching. That is workdayphysique.com/coaching. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Workday Physique. I'm your host, Ajitesh Gogoi, and in today's episode, we're discussing paying with time equity versus paying with financial equity to achieve your weight loss goals. So, for anything that you're trying to achieve, there are three resources that you have in limited supply that you can use to achieve those goals. And these three resources are time, energy, and money, right? When it comes to energy, it really depends on the life stage you're in at the moment. So if you're a very young person, you have minimal responsibilities, you'll have higher levels of energy. If you are an older individual, just by virtue of age, you'll have lesser energy, right? And similarly goes for your stress levels. If you're highly stressed all the time, you'll have lower energy compared to if you have lower levels of stress. But when it comes to the other two things, time and money, from what I've noticed, the common pattern usually is that someone who has a lot of time in hand usually has lower levels of money. Someone who has a lot of money usually has lower levels of time, unless you're someone who has just inherited a lot of wealth, then you have just abundant time and abundant money. But we're not talking about those anomalies here. All right. So if you're a student, you usually have a lot of time in hand, but very less money to spend. But if you're a high performing executive, or if you run a big business, you'll have more money, but you'll have very limited time. So, in order to achieve your goals, you will have to figure out what do you have more of, and you have to allocate those resources to the process in order to achieve results. That is the most efficient way to go about things. So, when it comes to weight loss, you know that I like to think of things from the first principle perspective because really, if you break things down to the very bare bones fundamentals, that is when you realize that there are very few things that you actually need to focus on in order to get results. And similarly, when you break down the process of weight loss into the first principles, you realize that there are just two ways to go about it. You're always paying either with time or with money. And what you choose to pay with depends on what you have more of. So, the key to achieving the results that you want is to leverage what you have more of, not what you have less of. So, what does it mean when I say that you need to leverage your time if you have more of it? Okay. It just means that you have more opportunities to make mistakes, learn from those mistakes, reiterate, and figure out what actually works for you in order to get you to your goals. Okay. And this may sound very simplistic, but it is not because this process usually takes years. Okay. If I'm to take my own example, I have been lifting weights, been into exercise nutrition for more than a decade now. And it has taken me a lot of trial and error to finally figure out what actually works for me and to figure out what actually works for most of the population out there. So this has taken quite a while. So if you have that kind of time in hand, like in terms of years, you can invest that to figure out what actually works for you. So that is one use of your time. Okay. Um, Also, at this point, I'd like to say that it is not a lack of information that holds people back in the 21st century because all the information you need is out there. All you have to do is consume it, execute, and then make mistakes, learn from those mistakes. That is what takes time. Okay. For example, you're listening to this episode right now. If you go back, listen to every single episode of the podcast, you'll have a very thorough understanding of what needs to be done for you to achieve your weight loss goals. But that is going to take up some time. All right. And then putting it into practice, putting that information into practice is also going to take some trial and error. Then you'll make mistakes and you'll learn from those mistakes. And this is just like a forever ongoing process, right? So if you have a lot of time, if you're a student, that is who I was when I was starting out on my own fitness journey. I had a lot of time. I did not have money. I was just a teenager. And so I would go read up on things, test them out. If something was not working, I'll figure out a solution by reading more on that and then test it out and then just reiterate this over years and years, right? So if you have that kind of luxury, you should do that. So the second way that you leverage your own time is by making sure that you're the one doing the grocery shopping, you're the one cooking your own meals, and this will ensure that your diet is 100% dialed in. Okay. I really don't understand when people with a lot of time, they rely on other people to cook their meals, because your diet really is most of what matters when it comes to you achieving your weight loss goals. And if you're not able to dial that in 100%, it's going to just take you longer. So the first thing you need to do is take control of the groceries, take control of the cooking. If you have a lot of time, I don't really see why you should not be in the kitchen making your own meals. Okay. So stop relying on someone else. Use your free time to do your cooking. Okay. The third thing that you'll do if you have a lot of excess time is to join a gym which has just bare minimum equipment. People who are in college, people who are students, usually don't have a lot of funds to go to very hi-fi gyms with a lot of equipment. Then you just need to find something that has the bare bones, bare minimum equipment. Okay. If I'm to give you my example, when I was in college, I would go to a gym that cost me like 100 rupees a year. Okay. And that was just my hostel gym. So this was just like a token fee that I had to pay. But the place was always filled to the brim because, firstly, it would have limited opening hours. So it would not be open all the time, just like for 5 hours a day, I think it was open. And people would just flock to it and crowd it. Equipment was already limited, and people would just take up that space, hog the equipment, and there were no machines. It was just like there was no air conditioning, there was no fan. There was just like there were just two exhaust fans. It was just a dungeon. Okay, there is no better way to describe it. But I made it work because I had a lot of time. I just did not have the funds to go to the fanciest gym in town. So I made it work and I maintained a pretty decent physique. Okay, just by training in that limited equipment facility. And I also had a deal with like the people who had keys to the door that I would go there and try to figure out when no one was there using that facility, and I'll get the keys, and I would try to be the only one training there. Okay, or I would go uh, half an hour earlier to the opening times, and I would get that head start. So I had to do all of these strategizing around when I can go there, when I can train, which took up a lot of my time, I would say, but I had that at that moment. So if you have that, just figure out something that works for you at the moment. And later on, when you have more money and less time, you can invest in something better. But we'll come to that. But these really are the key points. Okay. So you have more time invested into learning, practicing, making mistakes, learning again. Give it a few years, you will see results. Make sure you're doing your own shopping, cooking your own meals so that your diet is 100% dialed in, and just join like a bare minimum gym facility and make it work. Okay, that is it. So, this is what it means to leverage your time. But this is the group of people that I don't work with. So, who I work with are really high performance individuals who work as corporate executives. They're high performance businessmen who don't have a lot of this excess time, but they have the money to invest in themselves. So, if you are someone with more money, then you need to leverage that because you just don't have time. So what that means is number one, you need to hire a good coach. Okay. Instead of doing your trial and error, consuming information, testing it out, making mistakes, you don't have that kind of luxury. And usually someone who is in such a position is also usually in their early 30s, mid 30s, 40s, 50s. So you already have, reached that phase where you don't have like decades to make these mistakes, unlike a teenager who has like their 20s to do some trial and error till they get to their 30s, but you're already there. So you don't have a lot of, years to make mistakes, to trial and error, because you'd also probably have dependents who are dependent on you. And so you want to hire someone who has already seen all possible scenarios and all possible setbacks that you may have. They have already dealt with clients like that. They already have like decades of experience behind them. And when you just bring up that problem, when you face a certain obstacle, they already have the solution available for you. So there is no trial and error. All you have to do is, I'm facing this obstacle. The coach will provide you the solution that will work for you. So there is no wastage of time. There is no trial and error. And you also save, a lot of energy because you don't have to do the thinking. You can use your thinking to do things that, you know, require your brain power. So that is number one, outsource your training, nutrition, all the thinking around your weight loss goals to a good coach. That is number one. Number two is outsource your grocery shopping, your cooking, cleaning, everything around food to someone else. So pay someone to buy your groceries according to your instructions. Pay someone who will follow instructions and cook exactly according to your needs. So hire a chef who will do that for you. Okay, don't hire low quality staff for these things, because from what I have seen, people who have very high quality staff, they don't have to deal with the frustration of them not understanding instructions. So if you invest a good amount of money into high quality staff, you can tell them exactly what needs to be done. Okay, these people are usually very okay with technology, they understand instructions very clearly. A quick note to our listeners: if you like the show and find the content helpful, please leave a rating and a review on your podcast app. It would mean the world to me. It helps the show to grow and lets me impact the lives of more people like you. Thank you, and now back to the episode. And you can tell them that these are the food items that I need. This is how I want you to structure my meals. This is how I want you to weigh my ingredients, and then write them down so that I can log them in my app. If you can give very clear instructions, it will make your life so much easier because you're not spending the time going grocery shopping, calculating your macros, because they will do that for you. And you'll not even have to worry about variety, because if you provide them a good framework, they will use that, use their own creativity to come up with different varieties of dishes, which will also be within your calorie and macro targets, and you will see very good results. So, this is from what I have seen working with people who hire high quality chefs, that they don't have to worry too much about uh, like I have to instruct my cook so much that he doesn't even understand what needs to be done. This problem is just not there because they're hiring high quality staff. They just need minimal instruction and they will get the job done in a very effective manner. So you need to do that. Don't go, waste your time in grocery shopping, cooking. Don't do that. If you have the money, hire someone, outsource that to someone else. The third thing that you need to do if you have more funds, more money, is that build yourself a home gym or live in a place, live in an apartment where you have access to gym and sport facilities. Okay. For example, right now I have a home gym. I don't go train somewhere else, even though my facility is like very bare bones. It works for me. I have everything that I need and it is right there. So I don't have to waste time in transport. I don't have to waste time waiting for equipment to clear up. I can train anytime I want. I can train at 12 a.m. I can train at 3 a.m. in the morning, 3 p.m. in the afternoon. Like, this is the kind of luxury that you want, because you never know when you would have the time to train. Because if you suddenly realize that I don't have meetings now, I would like to get a workout done, and your gym is right there, just available for you, no one else hogging the equipment. That kind of luxury is not available to everyone. But if you can afford it, I would highly suggest you doing that for yourself. All right. So if you have more money in hand, these are the three things that you need to do to ensure that you get results. The first thing is hire a good coach. The second thing is outsource your cooking, cleaning, everything that frees up time for you, because you have less time. You want to buy back that more time by putting your money there. All right. Similarly, like if you have more of time, you need to use that time to get more money. But if you have more money, you need to put that money in to get more time. So if you hire a cook, if you hire a good coach, it frees up that time, energy that you can use to spend maybe with your family, maybe to learn other things, or maybe to work on yourself, work on your business, whatever else. But what is important here to realize is that don't try to cut corners. So if you have more money, invest it well into the best stuff. If you have more time, invest it well into doing what moves the needle. Okay, so if you have more time, don't waste it watching random YouTube videos. Use the time to go grocery shopping, make your own meals, learn more about exercise, nutrition, put that in practice, and learn from your mistakes. Invest your time in that. If you have more money, invest your time in hiring the best staff. So, the best chef, the best coach, because these people will give you back that time that you're missing at the moment. All right. If you hire a poor quality chef, you'd waste more time just trying to instruct them to, how to use a food scale, how to uh, follow instructions, what you actually need. They would just not get it because they're just low quality stuff. So don't do that. Firstly, determine what do you have more of at the moment, and then leverage that to the greatest extent, and that will help you get to your weight loss goals in the most effective manner. But the most common problem that I see is that people who have more time, they have a lot of time in hand, but very limited amount of money. They're trying to use that limited money to hire like really poor quality staff because they cannot hire the highest quality staff. So they're like relying on really cheap trainers, really cheap coaches to try and get them to their goals. Whereas they should actually be investing the limited amount of money they have into good quality food, good quality groceries, then doing their own learning from high quality resources, which are available for free, by the way, and then using their free time to actually do some trial and error to learn from their mistakes. So if you have a ton of time, I don't see why you should not be using that and instead using the resource that you have limited quantity of, that is money. That is just a bad, strategy in my opinion. And then on the other hand, there are people who have a lot of money, but they don't have enough time. They're trying to do their own education. Like they're trying to spend the limited time they have in trying to figure out like, why am I not seeing results? What could be going wrong? Let me watch this YouTube video. Let me do this. Let me do that. Let me cook my own meals. It's just not going to work because you have limited time, but you have all this money. Why don't you invest that into hiring good quality staff? And they will do this for you. They will do the thinking, strategizing, and all you have to do is execute. So don't make these mistakes. Find out what you have excess of in terms of resources and use that excess to invest in yourself, and you will achieve your weight loss results. It is that straightforward. Okay, so what do you have more of at the moment? Do you have more time or do you have more money? And invest it accordingly, and you will achieve the weight loss results you want. That is it for this episode of Workday Physique. Thank you for listening. You can follow and subscribe to the show wherever you're listening right now so you don't miss out on future episodes. Leave a 5-star rating and review if you're a repeat listener, and share this episode with one friend who you think will find it helpful. I'll see you again very soon. Until then, stay tuned, stay safe, and stay consistent.